Imagine standing at the strip, hearing what sounds like an ordinary muscle car idle softly until the lights drop. Suddenly the tires scream, the nose lifts, and the car rips the quarter-mile faster than any showroom model should. These legends weren't just rare, they were practically untouchable. Top 1 1969 Camaro ZL1 Copo 9560. It looked like just another 1969 Camaro, familiar squared fenders, sharp body lines, and a cowl induction hood anyone could order. Parked on a dealership lot, nothing seemed unusual, but hidden inside Chevrolet's paperwork was Copo 9560, 3 digits that unlocked one of the most terrifying machines ever sold to the public. From the outside, the ZL1 revealed nothing. It carried the same long hood, short deck proportions that made the first-generation Camaro a pony car icon. Optional stripes or plain finishes gave buyers flexibility, but visually it remained almost indistinguishable from an SS396. Inside, the story was the same. Vinyl bucket seats, factory gauges, a floor console with shifter, and even an AM radio could be optioned. There were no special emblems, no luxury flourishes, nothing to hint that this was anything more than a regular Camaro coupe. Yet behind the scenes, Fred Gibbs Chevrolet had convinced GM's central office production order system to approve a secret run of Dragstrip Assassins. These cars weren't meant for casual owners, they were built for racers who knew exactly what box to tick on the order sheet. That hidden option, Copo 9560, replaced the standard big block with an all-aluminum 427 cubic inch V8, a racing engine developed for Can-Am. Chevrolet listed it at 430 horsepower, but dyno polls regularly showed 500 plus. The aluminum block shaved nearly 100 pounds off the nose compared to iron engines, transforming the Camaro into a sharper weapon. Only 69 examples rolled out in 1969, each costing nearly double the price of a regular SS396. Decades later, one hammered for $1.09 million at Barrett-Jackson, outpricing modern McLarens and Lamborghini. On the strip, it was devastating. 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds, quarter-mile times of 11:28.12 seconds at over 120 mph numbers, unheard of for a showroom car in 1969. Yet to casual eyes, it was still just another Camaro, parked beside thousands of lookalikes. The driving experience was violent, a heavy clutch, close ratio gearbox, brutal throttle response, and an exhaust note that roared like open warfare. Inside, thin vinyl seats cooked in cabin heat, offering no comfort. It punished the unprepared, but rewarded racers with blistering times. Collectors now hail the ZL1 as the ultimate first-gen Camaro, a factory-built dragstrip legend disguised as a daily driver. But if 69 Camaros could terrify rivals, imagine a Corvette that appeared showroom stock yet demanded race fuel and unleashed over 500 horsepower. That nightmare wore the badge of the 1967 Corvette L88. Top 2, 1967 Corvette L88. At first sight, the 1967 Corvette L88 looked like every other Stingray, sleek fiberglass body, hidden headlights, and muscular curves. Yet buried under its hood was a racing heart so extreme that Chevrolet didn't even want ordinary customers to buy it. From the outside, the L88 blended in. Chrome bumpers framed the grille, rally wheels filled the arches, and side pipes hinted at aggression. But nothing screamed million-dollar rarity. Inside, the cockpit carried vinyl bucket seats, a 3-spoke wheel, and factory gauges. Missing were the comforts most Corvette buyers expected. No radio, no heater, no air conditioning. Chevrolet deliberately stripped them away, forcing buyers to realize this car was designed for competition, not cruising. Heavy-duty suspension pieces, power brakes, and a positraction rear axle gave subtle hints. Still, to anyone glancing at it, the L88 was just another Stingray. The reality revealed itself when the hood lifted. The L88 carried a 427 cubic inch V8 with aluminum heads, solid lifters, and an outrageous 12.51 compression ratio. It demanded 103-octane race gas and punished anyone who dared run pump fuel. Chevrolet rated it at 430 horsepower, but dyno sheets whispered 550 plus. Only 20 cars were built in 1967, making it one of the scarcest production Corvettes ever. Decades later, an example hammered at Barrett-Jackson for $3.85 million, proving it outpriced nearly every modern supercar. On track, the L88 was ferocious. 0 to 60 came in roughly 4.2 seconds, Quarter-mile runs landed in the low 12s at nearly 118 mph. For 1967, that was supercar territory. Owners described it as violent and unforgiving. The clutch was brutal. The cockpit sweltered with heat and the exhaust note shook windows. It wasn't built for comfort, it was built to win. Today, surviving L88s are treated as sacred artifacts, locked away in collections and museums. They represent the pinnacle of Corvette's racing spirit, a machine few will ever drive, let alone own. If 20 Corvettes could terrify the streets and command millions, imagine one built in even smaller numbers, just 12 examples, each armed with an LS6 big block. Top 3 1971 Corvette ZR2, LS6 G454. By 1971, the muscle car era was fading. Insurance rates rose, emissions rules tightened, and horsepower numbers shrank. Yet in this climate, Chevrolet quietly unleashed one of its most savage Corvettes ever, the ZR2. Only 12 were built, making it one of the rarest dragstrip legends. On the outside, the ZR2 looked ordinary. It wore the same sweeping Coke bottle curves, pop-up headlights, and chrome bumpers as any other third-generation Corvette. Convertibles carried the same graceful lines with the roof folded away. Inside, the cabin featured familiar bucket seats, a full-gauge cluster, and a 3-spoke wheel. Buyers expecting luxury, however, found nothing. Air conditioning, radios, and convenience options were deleted. Chevrolet stripped weight and distractions, leaving only the bare essentials. Reinforced suspension, heavy-duty brakes, and a positraction rear axle gave clues, but to the casual eye, it was just another Corvette on the lot. The secret was under the hood. The ZR2 carried the mighty LS6 454 cubic inch V8, officially rated at 425 horsepower, but known to make closer to 450. Torque was staggering, enough to shred tires at will. Just 12 cars received this option in 1971, including only 2 convertibles, making them unicorns even among rare Corvettes. Decades later, one crossed the block at Macomb, Indy for $962,500, a nearly $1 million Corvette few had even heard of. On the strip, the ZR2 was vicious. 0 to 60 came in about 4.3 seconds, and quarter-mile passes dropped into the low 12s at over 115 mph. In 1971, those figures eclipsed most street cars in America. Driving it was an ordeal, heavy clutch, screaming exhaust, and a stripped interior that baked drivers alive. Yet racers loved it. Chevrolet had built a Corvette purely for domination. Today, ZR2s are treasured as one of the rarest production Corvettes ever, a car so exclusive most collectors have only seen one in auction catalog. But if 12 Corvettes could shake the drag world, what about a Camaro built through dealer backchannels, stuffed with a 427 and carrying the Yenko badge? Top 4 1969 Yenko Camaro 427 Copo. To most people, the 1969 Camaro was a stylish pony car, cheap, quick, and everywhere. But when Don Yenko got his hands on Chevrolet's hidden Copo program, the result was something else entirely. A street machine with the heart of a drag racer, wrapped in unassuming Camaro sheet metal. The Yenko Camaro carried the same crisp first-generation lines, squared fenders, a long hood, and optional stripes running nose to tail. Some wore simple rally wheels, others had bold graphics, but many looked nearly identical to regular SS models. Inside, the cabin was straightforward vinyl, bucket seats, a console shifter, basic gauges, and minimal luxury. It was still the Camaro people knew, but buyers weren't there for style. Yenko's dealership used Chevrolet's central office production order system to create something far more potent than the catalog offered. Behind every ordinary detail lurked an extraordinary secret. That secret was the 427 cubic inch L72 big block V8, rated at 425 horsepower but known to deliver closer to 450. It transformed the Camaro into a quarter-mile killer. Yenko secured just over 200 cars through Copo in 1969, making them rare even then. Period tests recorded quarter miles in the low 13-second range at over 108 mph, astonishing for a pony car. Today, genuine Yenko Camaros command prices of $350,000 to $600,000, proof that their legend outpaces many modern supercars. Behind the wheel, the Yenko Camaro was raw and unforgiving. The heavy clutch demanded effort, the close ratio gearbox snapped through gears, and the exhaust barked like open thunder. Yet the car's ordinary looks gave it a sleeper edge. Parked next to a standard SS, few would suspect its true violence. Collectors now view the Yenko Camaro as one of the most important dealer-built muscle cars, a symbol of how passion could bend corporate rules. Its mix of rarity, performance, and underground origin ensures its reputation as a dragstrip legend that still intimidates half a century later. Lingers is the contradiction, an everyday Camaro shell hiding the fury of a factory race engine. That uneasy blend of disguise and destruction is what makes the Yenko name echo in muscle car history. Top 5, 1970 Chevelle SS 454 LS6 Convertible. The 1970 Chevelle SS Convertible looked like a car for Sunday drives, a big A-body drop-top, perfect for sunshine and slow cruises. Yet when ordered with the LS6 option, it became something else entirely, a ragtop muscle car that carried more firepower than most coups of its era. From the outside, the Chevelle SS 454 Convertible blended elegance with subtle aggression. Some wore bold cowl induction hoods and racing stripes, while others rolled out in plain pastel colors that made them look tame. Chrome bumpers framed the wide grille, and its muscular stance hinted at power beneath. Drop the top and the interior delivered comfort. Vinyl bucket seats, a console with horseshoe shifter, full instrumentation, and even available power windows. Buyers could still add radios or air conditioning, creating the illusion of a luxury cruiser. But the LS6 option rewrote that story entirely. Beneath the hood lay Chevrolet's most brutal engine of the era, the 454 cubic inch LS6 V8. Officially rated at 450 horsepower but closer to 500 in reality, it turned the heavy convertible into a dragstrip contender. Chevrolet produced 4,475 LS6 Chevelles in 1970, yet only about 95 were convertibles, with fewer than 30 verified today. That scarcity has pushed values into the stratosphere. In 2024, a pristine LS6 convertible crossed Meckham's auction block for $600,000, putting this once accessible family convertible beyond the reach of modern supercars. The greatest performance defied expectations. 0 to 60 arrived in just over 5 seconds, and quarter-mile times dipped into the low 13s at more than 108 mph figures that stunned drivers who assumed a convertible was too heavy for speed. The driving experience was a paradox. Wind in your hair while a 454 big block roared like a cannon. Collectors now view the LS6 convertible as the ultimate mix of muscle and rarity, a car that proved even a ragtop cruiser could dominate the quarter mile. Its blend of open-air comfort and ferocious power ensures its place among Chevrolet's most desirable legends. What endures is that contradiction and elegant convertible, built to shatter dragstrip times. That dual nature is why the LS6 convertible remains one of the most haunting symbols of Chevrolet's muscle era. Top 6, 1963 Impala ZL1 427 Lightweight. At a glance, the 1963 Chevrolet Impala ZL1 looked like a family car, long body, wide chrome grille, and bench seats that could haul kids to school. Yet this Impala was no suburban cruiser. Beneath the trim lurked a factory-built dragstrip assassin that few have ever seen in person. The ZL1 carried the familiar two-door hardtop shape of any Impala, with clean lines, dual headlights, and subtle badges. From the curb, it blended into Chevrolet's full-size lineup. Inside, simplicity ruled. Vinyl bench seats, plain door panels, and basic instrumentation gave no hints of its mission. Comfort options were eliminated. No radios, no air conditioning, nothing extra. Chevrolet engineers focused on weight reduction. Aluminum front fenders, hood, and bumpers, plus thinner glass. It still looked like a family sedan, but it shed hundreds of pounds, disguising race technology under everyday styling. The transformation became clear under the hood. Instead of the common 409, the ZL1 carried a stroked 427 cubic inch W Series V8. Factory rated at 430 horsepower, real output approached 480 thanks to dual 4-barrel carburetors and a radical cam. Only 57 ZL1 Impalas were produced, all aimed at NHRA Superstock competition. On the strip, they stunned spectators with quarter-mile times in the low 12s at over 115 mph numbers, unheard of from a full-size car. Decades later, survivors command auction prices exceeding $500,000, their rarity and racing pedigree pushing them far beyond modern exotic benchmarks. For racers, the Z11 was a ticket to victory. Drivers like Dino Don Nicholson turned it into a legend, its nose lifting high as it stormed down the quarter mile. Yet off the track, it remained deceptive, an Impala in name and appearance, but in truth a lightweight brawler built only for speed. Today, just a handful exist, preserved in museums or locked in collections. Collectors call them time bombs in tuxedos, machines that hid brutality beneath polished chrome. Its dual identity, a full-size family car turned dragstrip monster cements its place as one of Chevrolet's most haunting legends. And that haunting quality remains, a polite Impala shell concealing a factory-built weapon. That contradiction is why the Z11's legacy still echoes through drag racing history. Top 7, 1969, Corvette ZL1. To most people, the 1969 Corvette looked familiar. Low, wide, fiberglass curves flowing over pop-up headlights and chrome bumpers. Yet, hidden deep inside Chevrolet's order sheets was an option almost nobody dared to check. Those who did unlocked the Corvette ZL1, a phantom so rare only two were ever built. From the outside, nothing betrayed its secret. The ZL1 wore the same Coke bottle bodywork, rally wheels, and dual exhaust tips as countless other Corvettes. Buyers could choose bright colors or subdued silvers, but the car always blended with the Stingray crowd. Inside, the deception continued. Vinyl bucket seats, teakwood accents, full-gauge cluster, and the same layout as any other Corvette. Air conditioning and radios were often deleted, but nothing obvious revealed the transformation. Chevrolet kept the ZL1 buried within the central office production order system, accessible only to those who knew the hidden code. It wasn't meant for weekend show-offs. It was designed for racers who understood its potential. The twist came when the hood opened. Instead of a cast-iron big block, the ZL1 carried an all-aluminum 427 cubic inch V8, developed for Can-Am racing. Officially rated at 430 horsepower, it produced closer to 550 in reality. Lighter by nearly 100 pounds than the L88, it sharpened handling while delivering brutal speed. Only two ZL1 Corvettes left the factory in 1969, making them among the rarest Chevrolets ever built. When one surfaced decades later, estimates climbed into the $2.63 million range, instantly placing it above modern Ferraris and Lamborghini. On the strip, the ZL1 was devastating. 0 to 60 in the mid-4-second range, quarter-mile times in the low 12s at nearly 118 mph performance that rivaled purpose-built drag cars of its day. Drivers described it as unforgiving yet precise. A heavy clutch, screaming exhaust, and savage throttle response that demanded respect. Yet to bystanders, it was still just another Corvette cruising by. Today, enthusiasts call it the Ghost Corvette, a machine almost mythical in its rarity, too valuable to thrash yet too wild to ignore. Its legend rests not only in its numbers, but in its near invisibility. What lingers is the mystery, a Corvette that looked ordinary but lived as a phantom, haunting collectors with its rarity. That is the paradox of the ZL1, hidden in plain sight, yet unforgettable once unleashed. Top 8 1963 Corvette Grand Sport. The 1963 Corvette Grand Sport looked like a dream born in secrecy. It wasn't a showroom model, nor a car most enthusiasts could ever order. Instead, it was Chevrolet's forbidden weapon, an experimental racer built to crush Cobras and dominate endurance tracks. Only 5 were made, and each carried an aura of danger. At first glance, the Grand Sport resembled the brand-new Stingray Coupe. It had the split rear window, sharp fender lines, and futuristic fiberglass body that defined 1963 Corvettes. Yet subtle differences told a deeper story. Flared wheel arches, wider track, scooped hood, and aggressive side vents. Inside, the plushness of production Corvettes was stripped away. Out went sound-deadening carpeting and luxuries. In came lightweight panels, roll cages, and racing gauges. The Grand Sport was designed not for comfort, but for survival at triple-digit speeds. Every panel, every bolt whispered one purpose: to win. Hidden beneath the hood was a hand-built 377 cubic inch small block V8, delivering up to 485 horsepower, staggering output for its time. Coupled with a weight of just 1,900 pounds, the Grand Sport demolished competition on the strip and track, running quarter miles in the low 11s at nearly 125 mph. But here's the twist. General Motors' corporate policy banned factory racing. The project was ordered to be killed. Only 5 Grand Sports escaped into private hands. Their rarity today is beyond measure. When one appears at auction, values soar well into the $5 to $6 million range, eclipsing modern hypercars with ease. The Grand Sport proved that Chevrolet could build a world-beating race car when freed from corporate restraints. Its lightweight chassis, brutal acceleration, and razor-sharp handling terrified rivals and electrified fans. For collectors, owning one is less about driving and more about possessing a lost chapter of American racing history. Each of the 5 cars carries unique scars, victories, and modifications, making them irreplaceable artifacts. Their legend lies not just in their rarity, but in the fact they were never meant to exist at all. And that is the legacy of the Grand Sport, a ghost from 1963, born in defiance, silenced by corporate fear, yet too powerful to disappear. Few cars embody rebellion so completely, and none wear their scars with such unshakable pride. These machines weren't built for comfort, luxury, or even recognition. They were built for dominance. Each one carried secrets under its hood, stories of backdoor deals, corporate defiance, and engineering brilliance hidden in plain sight. That's why today, they outprice modern supercars and remain untouchable on the dragstrip of history. Owning one isn't just about horsepower. It's about holding a forbidden piece of American muscle lore. Which of these ultra-rare legends stunned you the most? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Legendary Classic Cars for more stories of machines the world was never meant to see.